The thought that someone might ask me what I was doing when I didn't really know what I was doing, it would have taken a lot of faith for me to be one of these 2 disciples that were called to do this. We're told that the owners of the colt did exactly what Jesus said that they were going to do. Everything was the way Jesus said. They found the colt, they untied the colt, and then the owners, not just somebody hanging around, not just a neighbor, the actual owners of the colt come to them and say, "Why are you untying our colt? What are you doing with my donkey?" The disciples kept to the script. They answered exactly as Jesus had told them to. The Lord has need of him. The next thing Luke writes is, then they brought him to Jesus. Apparently, saying what Jesus told them to say and doing what Jesus had told them to do was all that they needed. And yet, how often do we fear outcomes that are different from Jesus' promises? How often are we confident in what he said, but afraid something else is going to happen? How many of us live our lives constantly waiting for the other shoe to drop when he said, "I'm going to lift you up"? How many of us live our lives expecting the worst when he has promised that he will lead us through whatever he's designed us to be led through? How often do we believe that we must do more than what we've been given? How often do we think, well, this can't be enough? Right? The word can't be enough. How often do we think it is written? Like in your own battles with temptation. Jesus battled temptation very simply. It is written. And how many times in your battles with temptation do you think, well, there's got to be more to it than that? There's got to be more than the word. There's got to be more than quoting the truth. There's got to be more than knowing the character and the heart of God through the Spirit and the Scriptures. And so I've got to find some way to be delivered rather than knowing I am in the hands of the deliverer. How often do we forget that more than we've been told is just as disobedient than less than we were told? Yeah. Just as disobedient. So if you do more than God told, you disobey just the same as the guy who didn't do anything God asked for. And yet we keep adding to and adding to and adding to as if the word is not going to be enough. These 2 disciples did exactly what Jesus said, and they saw Jesus do exactly what he has promised. As you hear me say often, as Ed and I chirp in on Bible studies often, the word is enough, the word works, and the Spirit leads well. Faith is more about believing unto obedience than it is about believing for an outcome. We've got a lot of us have faith for healing, have faith for prosperity, have faith for reconciliation, when our calling is to have faith unto obedience. Believe enough to obey, and believe that he will do his part if we have been faithful to ours. We're not supposed to have faith in the outcome because none of us are ever going to understand the outcome. My ways are higher than yours. My thoughts are higher than yours. I'll do more than you ever asked or imagined. And yet we keep believing for what makes sense to us rather than doing what he's told us. We have this calling to have our faith unto obedience no matter what obedience is.